He wasn't just flashy, he was fire and flare in gloves. With speed in both hands, swagger in every step, and a mouth that echoed louder than the punches he threw, Adrien Broner didn't walk into boxing quietly. He strutted in with gold chains, championship dreams, and a chip on his shoulder. A four-division world champion before 30. They called him the next Mayweather. He called himself the problem. And for a while, he absolutely was. Quick reflexes, slick counters, brutal knockouts. He had the talent to take over, and the confidence to make the spotlight feel small. From world titles to wild nights, from million-dollar checks to courtrooms and comebacks. Broner's story isn't just about fame or failure. It's about surviving the storm when you become one. So, before we dive into the chaos, the controversy, and the complicated legacy of Adrien Broner, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Because this isn't just boxing, it's the problem in all his glory. Born on July 28, 1989, in the unforgiving streets of Cincinnati, Ohio, Adrien Jerome Broner was a storm waiting to happen. At just 6 years old, he laced up his gloves and stepped into a boxing gym. Not for fun, but for survival. While the streets claimed many around him, Broner fought his way towards something bigger, something brighter. And for a moment, it looked like he had the world in his hands. A four-division world champion, pay-per-view star, dubbed by some as the next Floyd Mayweather. He climbed boxing's highest peaks before most fighters even found their footing. He was making millions per fight, draped in designer, surrounded by fame, and headlining in lights, his future seemingly written in gold. But greatness is a tricky thing. It doesn't just test your fists, it tests your soul. Because as the spotlight grew hotter, so did the shadows he couldn't outrun. The headlines changed, the money disappeared, the aura cracked, and the question now wasn't how far can he rise, but how far will he fall? In 2020, in a courtroom, Broner stood before a judge and declared he had only $13 to his name. As of 2025, his net worth sits around $100,000, a shocking number for a man who once earned millions in a single night. This is the story of Adrien Broner, a fighter who soared like a legend and crashed like a cautionary tale. Before the limelight, before the headlines, there was just a kid in Cincinnati with bruised knuckles and a dream. But amidst the noise of the streets, he found a strange kind of silence in the ring. By the time he was a teenager, he had fought over 300 amateur bouts, winning 300 of them. That wasn't just skill, it was obsession. He studied the sport like it was survival because for him, it was. On May 31st, 2008, a 19-year-old Broner stepped into the professional ring for the first time. He didn't just win, he erased his opponents. Alani Davis went down in the first round. David Warren Huffman, same fate. Then Ramon Flores. 3 consecutive first-round knockouts. Adrien wasn't climbing the ranks. He was kicking the door off its hinges. By his 5th fight, on the undercard of Ricky Hatton versus Paulie Malignaggi at the MGM Grand, Broner was already rubbing shoulders with the sport's elite. He showcased power, speed, and, more than anything else, a kind of quiet menace. You could see it in his eyes. He knew he was special. But boxing always leaves clues, and his first no contest against Eric Ricker, clouded in controversy, hinted at the turbulence ahead. Still, the momentum didn't stop. He racked up wins against increasingly difficult opponents. He could brawl. He could box. He could even go the distance when forced to, as he did against Jose Alfredo Lugo and Fernando Quintero. By 2010, he was mowing down contenders, Rafael Lora, Carlos Claudio, Guillermo Sanchez, Illido Julio, each one falling in front of this human highlight reel from Cincinnati. Then came the fight that turned heads. March 5th, 2011, Daniel Ponce de Leon, former world champion, rugged veteran, no-nonsense brawler. It wasn't a flawless performance. Broner was tested. He was frustrated. He was forced to dig deeper. But he emerged with a controversial unanimous decision. The numbers told the story. He was more accurate, more composed. It wasn't just speed, it was precision. It wasn't just hype, it was real. Next came Jason Litzau, and in less than 3 minutes, Broner turned a respected contender into a pile of limbs on the canvas. The performance was so surgical, so electric, it demanded attention. Suddenly, Adrien Broner wasn't just a rising star. He was a problem. On November 26, 2011, he became a world champion, fighting for the vacant WBO super featherweight title. Broner knocked out Vicente Martin Rodriguez in the third round. At just 22 years old, he had claimed his first world title. But it wasn't the belt that made people take notice. It was how easily he seemed to collect it. Yet behind the scenes, something was changing. Broner wasn't just becoming a star. He was starting to believe his own legend. When he dismantled Eloy Perez in his first title defense, the knockout was devastating. But the post-fight interview? Cocky. Dismissive. He wasn't just winning anymore. He was playing with his food. Then came the first major crack. The weigh-in before his next title defense told a troubling story. Broner missed weight badly. Over 3 pounds heavy, he was stripped of his title before even stepping into the ring. Most fighters would be humbled. Not Broner. He still stopped Vicente Escobedo in 5 rounds, barely breaking a sweat. But the message was clear. The rules didn't apply to Adrien Broner. Not in his mind. Later that year, he moved up in weight and challenged Antonio DeMarco, the WBC lightweight champion and the top-ranked lightweight in the world. This was supposed to be a war. Instead, Broner delivered a masterclass. Sharp counters, slick defense, and a vicious uppercut that forced DeMarco's corner to throw in the towel in the 8th. 2 divisions, 2 world titles, and still just 23 years old. He defended his title with ease against Gavin Rees, toying with the veteran before finishing him with a body shot in the 5th. And then, in a move that shocked many, he jumped 2 weight classes to welterweight. The goal? Paulie Malignaggi's WBA belt. The risk? Everything. June 22, 2013. Barclays Center, Brooklyn. Malignaggi came out fast, trying to drown Broner in volume. But as the rounds went on, Adrien's timing took over. The judges gave him the split decision. His 3rd world title. His 3rd weight class. Another milestone. Another payday. This time, $1.5 million. But the post-fight antics, boasting that he'd taken Malignaggi's belt and his girl, made it clear. The hunger that built him was being replaced by the ego that might destroy him. Then came the fight. December 14th, 2013. Marcos Maidana. From the opening bell, Maidana unleashed chaos. Broner, used to controlling the pace, found himself drowning in pressure. In round 2, a left hook sent him to the canvas for the first time in his career. He recovered, but never fully regained control. By round 8, he was down again. The decision was unanimous. The aura was shattered. The backlash was instant. And just like that, the mystique of Adrien Broner was gone. He kept fighting. Carlos Molina, Emmanuel Taylor, Sean Porter, but something had changed. He still won, but without conviction. His return to super lightweight earned him another belt against Khabib Alakfardiev, but even that felt hollow. The same patterns returned. Missed weight, unfocused performances, and outlandish behavior outside the ring. The loss to Mikey Garcia in 2017 made it clear Broner was no longer evolving. He was surviving. The draw against Jesse Vargas in 2018 was the last flicker of relevance. Then came the Pacquiao fight. January 19th, 2019. The legend versus the lost talent. Pacquiao dominated. Broner landed just 50 punches over 12 rounds, a career low. But what shocked fans most wasn't the loss. It was what came after. In front of a global audience, battered and beaten, Broner stood in the ring and insisted he had won. "I controlled the fight," he claimed. "I beat him." It wasn't just denial, it was delusion. After that, he vanished. Legal troubles mounted. Social media outbursts painted a picture of a man spiraling. In 2020, during a court appearance, he declared he had just $13 in his bank account. The man who once made millions per fight was broke. He returned briefly in 2021, scraping out a questionable win over Giovanni Santiago. The punch stats were brutal. He was outlanded nearly 2-1. 2 judges gave him the first round despite him landing 0 punches, according to CompuBox. It felt more like a favor than a victory. And still, there's something haunting about Adrien Broner. He's not done. Not officially. Not yet. But every step forward feels like a man walking through the ruins of what could have been. Because maybe the biggest opponent Adrien Broner ever faced wasn't Marcos Maidana, or Mikey Garcia, or even Manny Pacquiao. Maybe it was the mirror. And the question now, the one nobody can answer but Broner himself. Can he find the discipline, the focus, the heart to climb back from the ashes? Or will the problem forever remain unsolved? So, when the noise dies down, the lights go out, and the crowd stops chanting, who is Adrien Broner, really? His personal life has never stayed out of the headlines. Not because he chased fame, but because the chaos followed him like a shadow. At the center of it all is Ari Nicole, the woman who stood beside him through more turbulence than most would survive. A digital entrepreneur from Cincinnati, Ari built her own brand, Ally Beauty, while holding together a relationship that often felt like a battle in its own right. Together, they raised 3 children, but his fatherhood stretches wider. At least 7 children from multiple relationships, each a reminder of a man trying to balance fame with responsibility. He's even joked he'd have 30 by now if luck hadn't stepped in. Crude, yes, but revealing. Because behind every wild quote and viral moment is a man grappling with something far heavier than just public image. And more importantly, can he still write a final chapter worth remembering? Adrien Broner didn't just live rich. He performed it. Every room he walked into, he wanted you to feel it. The weight of his chains, the purr of Italian engines, the scent of power and excess. His Cincinnati mansion was more than a house. It was a statement. A private theater, a saltwater swimming pool, even a bowling alley. And in Atlanta, he claimed to own a $6 million estate outright. Not rented, not leased, owned. For him, luxury wasn't just an accessory. It was armor. A reminder to the world that he had made it. And oh, the cars. His garage looked like a hip-hop fever dream. Lamborghini Aventador, Rolls-Royce Wraith, Bentley Continental GT. A Mercedes S550 for elegance. An Audi R8 for the speed. He didn't just post these on Instagram. He lived them, filming himself behind the wheel, draped in designer gear, surrounded by cash like confetti. In one hand, a glass of liquor. In the other, the illusion of control. But here's the thing about illusions. They shimmer brightest right before they shatter. He filed for bankruptcy. Then came the court-ordered payments. Over $800,000. Suddenly, the King of Flash was answering to judges, not fans. And while the cameras once loved him, now they captured something different. A man unraveling, spiraling, trying to dance through a storm with untied laces. He called himself AB about billions. But the world was starting to see a different meaning. About broken. Emotionally, mentally, financially. He spoke of battling depression. Of drowning in self-doubt, of falling so far he wasn't sure if he'd ever climb again. Once hailed as the next Floyd Mayweather, Broner became a cautionary tale, proof that money can buy attention, but not peace. That fame can crown you a king and still leave you feeling worthless inside. And yet, even in his darkest interviews, Broner whispers one promise: I will end this journey on top. But the question is, does he still believe it? And more importantly, will the world ever believe in Adrien Broner again? Before you go, don't miss out on exclusive perks. Click the link in the description to become a channel member and enjoy awesome benefits, like suggesting future video topics, getting early access to new content 48 hours before anyone else, and much more. Your support means the world and helps us keep bringing you the stories you love. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more amazing content. And while you're here, why not check out our deep dive into Floyd Mayweather's video? Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.